know, we have a tremendous force going there, just like we did in Venezuela.
It's a playbook Trump has used before, but Iran is very different from Venezuela.
Beautiful armada, floating beautifully toward Iran right now. We are negotiating with them right now, yes.
How Iran is breaking the U.S. Navy's defense system. Today, what you are about to hear goes beyond a simple military analysis. It is a demonstration of modern strategy, where every detail matters, and where the consequences are global. Recently, around 3 a.m., somewhere in the southern Red Sea, 85 kilometers off the Yemeni coast, an American resupply ship was moving through the darkness. Its route was known. Its cargo, too, for those who know how to look. Shortly after, the detection systems sounded the alarm. 20 minutes later, the ship no longer existed. Everything it was carrying now rests 730 meters at the bottom of the sea. What this ship was carrying and what its loss means for the future of American naval power is exactly what we are going to analyze in this video. The vessel in question belongs to the T-8 class of U.S. Navy logistics support ships. Nearly 210 meters long, more than 41,000 tons at maximum load. 10,000 tons of dry cargo capacity configured for transporting weaponry. For this voyage, it was carrying the essential fuel for any modern naval war, missiles, thousands of them. Here is what the holds contained, with the corresponding unit costs. Standard SM-2 missiles, air defense missiles for Aegis destroyers, $2.4 million per unit, about 1,200 on board. Standard SM-3 missiles, anti-ballistic interceptors, $15 million each, 400 units embarked. Standard SM-6 missiles, dual-use, anti-air and anti-ship, 4.3 million each, 800 on board. ESSM missiles, close-range point defense, 1.8 million per unit, 6,000 units packed into the forward hold. RAM missiles, last chance defense, $905,000 per unit, 2,500 embarked. Plus Tomahawk missiles, 𝐶IWS cannon ammunition, spare parts, and various secondary weapons. Total value of the cargo? About $58 billion. Strategic value? Irreplaceable within any useful time frame for this conflict. To understand why this ship sank, you have to understand the weapon that destroyed it. This was not a random strike. It was a demonstration of doctrine. Iran orchestrated a combined attack in two distinct waves. First wave, 3 C-802 anti-ship cruise missiles fired from mobile coastal launchers in Yemen under Iranian control. These systems skim the surface of the water between 10 and 15 meters altitude. Subsonic speed, reduced radar signature, the ship detected them at 35 kilometers. Problem, it only has 2 CIWS turrets to defend itself. No decoys, no electronic warfare. This is not a combat ship. It is a truck at sea. The escorting destroyer engaged the missiles with SM-2s. 2 were destroyed. The third struck the hull at the waterline, at the rear, causing flooding without immediately fatal damage. Second wave, 2 minutes after the first impacts, 2 𝐃𝐞𝐟𝐞 anti-ship ballistic missiles descended from the upper atmosphere. These are not cruise missiles. They are ballistic projectiles that first rise to very high altitude before diving vertically at more than Mach 5 onto their target. Range, 300 kilometers. Warhead, 650 kilograms designed to pierce ship hulls. The destroyer fired SM-3s. One of the Iranian missiles was intercepted. The second evaded, passed through 3 decks before exploding in the hold where the ESSM missiles were stored. What followed was not a simple explosion. It was a cascading detonation. The fuels and warheads of the stored missiles ignited one after another. The ship broke in 2 in 6 minutes. It had completely disappeared under the water in 14 minutes. All 126 crew members were recovered alive by the destroyer and rescue helicopters. The cargo, however, is at the bottom. It is not the loss of a ship that matters. numbers. It is the logic behind it. The American naval presence in the Middle East relies on a 13,000-kilometer logistics chain linking factories in Arizona and California to combat ships deployed in the Persian Gulf. This chain has 3 links: production, transport, and delivery. Iran has just demonstrated that it can break the central link, and without transport, production is useless. Let's look at the numbers. The U.S. Fifth Fleet fields 11 Arleigh Burke-class destroyers and 3 Ticonderoga-class cruisers in the Middle Eastern theater. Total vertical launch capacity, about 1,350 cells. Assuming 60% loaded with air defense missiles, that represents about 810 interceptors available. Meanwhile, Iran has launched more than 1,400 ballistic missiles and 3,000 drones in 3 weeks. With a 75% interception rate, the fleet has already fired about 1,050 interceptors. The magazines are running out. The resupply was expected. It is now at the bottom of the sea. Without this cargo ship, the Navy has 3 options, all unacceptable. The first, withdraw ships from the theater to resupply them in safe ports. The defensive umbrella shrinks. Some attacks will go through unopposed. The second, maintain presence with empty magazines, hoping for a slowdown in the Iranian tempo, which all available intelligence contradicts. The third, wait for the next cargo ship, which will not arrive for at least 3 weeks, during which the fleet operates in degraded mode. Here is what no one calculates on television news. Raytheon produces about 125 SM-2 missiles per year. The ship was carrying 1,200, nearly 10 years of production. The SM-3 is produced at a rate of 60 units per year. The 400 lost represent more than 6 years. The SM-6 produced at 125 per year. The 800 on board, more than 6 years. The ESSM, with 500 units produced annually for the U.S. inventory, the 6,000 sunk, 12 years of production. By adding all the lost munitions and taking into account current manufacturing rates, without changing priorities, without increasing workforce, without suspending exports to allies, it would take about 47 years to replace everything.
We start with some breaking news coming in from the US President Donald Trump right now. He has held a meeting with US defense companies and asked them to ramp up production. Trump put out this social media post saying that he had a meeting with the CEOs of US defense manufacturing companies, the heads of BAE Systems, Boeing, Honeywell Aerospace, L3Harris Missile Solutions, Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman and Raytheon were all reportedly present. Trump says that they have agreed to quadruple production of what he called exquisite class weaponry. Trump even says the US wants to reach the highest levels of quantity of these so-called exquisite weapons as rapidly as possible. He also claimed that the US had virtually unlimited supplies of medium and upper medium grade munitions, but that orders for them had been increased as well.
2 𝐾𝐞 missiles at 800,000 each, $1.6 million. Iranian total, $5.2 million. The United States lost 4 SM-2 fired by the destroyer, $9.6 million. 2 SM-3 fired, $30 million. The ship itself, $500 million. The cargo, $58 billion. Total American loss, about $59 billion including the ship. Cost to destruction ratio, 1 to 11,350. This ratio is what wins wars. Not tactical victories, not loss counts, financial sustainability. Iran can afford to launch $5 million attacks every day for years. The United States cannot absorb $59 billion losses even once. And Iran has just proven that it can do it. The U.S. Military Logistics Command operates 15 Lewis and Clark-class dry cargo ships. 6 to 8 are deployed simultaneously. 2 are currently transiting toward the Middle East, loaded with interceptor missiles. Both are now confirmed targets. Both have minimal defensive capability. And both must necessarily pass through geographic choke points: the Red Sea, the Gulf of Aden, the Strait of Hormuz, where Iranian coastal batteries and their allies cover up to 300 kilometers offshore. The Navy can provide escorts, but as this event has demonstrated, a single destroyer cannot intercept a saturation attack. By assigning 3 or 4 destroyers per cargo ship, protection improves, but it would drain a fleet that does not have enough units to fulfill all these missions simultaneously. It would require recalling ships from the Western Pacific, from Europe, from deterrence missions. And China is watching, Russia as well. They will exploit the gaps. There is worse. When escort ships exhaust their own munitions defending a cargo ship, they themselves become vulnerable, and their resupply requires another cargo ship, which becomes another target. It is a logical loop with no exit. The official statement speaks of a tragic incident.
The Houthis have attacked more than 70 ships in the past year, creating havoc in global shipping. While the U.S. Navy has been fighting off those attacks, experts say a new strategy is needed to bring lasting security. National Security Correspondent Caitlin Burke reports.
We have certainly degraded their capability. There's no doubt about that. We've degraded their ability. However, have we stopped them? No.
Last month, Vice Admiral George Wyckoff, head of naval efforts in the Middle East, said it's unlikely the Houthis will be swayed by the kind of military response approved by the White House.
But our mission remains to disrupt their ability and try to preserve some semblance of maritime order while we give an opportunity for policy to be developed.
Attacked more than 70 vessels since the war between Israel and Hamas began, claiming to support Palestinians in the Gaza Strip.
What the Houthis, really at the behest of the Iranians, learned long ago is that the shipping that goes through the Red Sea it has a global impact.
But ships in the Arabian Sea cannot intercept missiles targeting Israel or Saudi Arabia. They are protecting themselves, not the mission. Rerouting the cargo ship around Africa is an even more meaningful admission. The Navy is implicitly acknowledging that it cannot guarantee safe passage in the Red Sea. This admission has consequences far beyond this conflict. The Red Sea accounts for 12% of global maritime trade, including 8% of oil exports and 10% of grain shipments. War risk premiums have surged by 600% at Lloyd's of London. Commercial shipping companies are already rerouting their vessels around Africa. Iran has not only sunk a warship, it has closed a trade route. If the situation persists, the economic cost exceeds $500 billion annually. Faced with this reality, American strategists have 4 options. None is satisfactory. Option 1, continue as before while accepting unsustainable logistical losses. Production cannot compensate for destruction at the current pace. Option 2, massively reinforce escorts by assigning 3 to 4 destroyers per cargo ship. Tactically defensible, operationally impossible without stripping other theaters of war, which China and Russia are waiting for. Option 3, destroy Iranian coastal batteries through sustained airstrikes. Militarily logical, politically not authorized in the current framework. This would require hundreds of sorties, aircraft losses, and an escalation that Washington is not currently willing to assume. Option 4, suspend resupply transits and only supply forward units in safe ports, far from the war theater. This solves the vulnerability of cargo ships by removing cargo ships. But naval coverage becomes intermittent. Adversaries plan their operations during the gaps. Allies lose confidence. It is organized decline. Each of these options is a form of retreat, fast or slow, acknowledged or concealed. But retreat, nonetheless. There is one detail absent from official statements. Satellite images taken in February confirmed the presence of Chinese cargo ships unloading containers in Iranian ports, components for missiles, electronic systems, complete weapon systems.
China supports the Iranian government and its people in safeguarding their national stability and legitimate rights and interests.
China has come out in full support of Iran amid fears of a possible U.S. attack on the Islamic Republic. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson said in a press conference that Beijing supports Iran in upholding nation stability and legitimate rights. In a clear-cut warning to the United States, Mao Ning said that China consistently advocates for resolving issues through political and diplomatic means, and opposes the use or threat of force in international relations.
Iran possesses more than 2,000 anti-ship cruise missiles and around 300 anti-ship ballistic missiles in its inventory. Iran can replace a missile in a few days. The United States needs years to rebuild a cargo ship. If Iran sinks logistics ships faster than Washington can build them, the chain breaks permanently. We are at one ship sunk in 3 weeks of high-intensity conflict. The Iranian inventory remains full. The attack that caused this disaster used only 5 missiles. Hundreds remain, and China is resupplying them. What we are witnessing is what defeat looks like in modern warfare. Not a sudden catastrophe, not a decisive battle lost, a mathematical erosion. The logistics chain collapses before the front line breaks. And when it collapses, everything that depends on it collapses with it. The U.S. Navy is withdrawing from areas it has dominated without challenge for 80 years. Not because Iranian ships defeated American ships in naval combat, but because Iranian missiles have made American logistics unsustainable. The question is no longer whether this assessment is accurate. The repositioning, the route deviations, the resupply delays already confirm it. The real question is how long decision-makers can continue to maintain the narrative of robust capabilities while their own navigation orders tell a completely different story. The Red Sea belongs to the one who can sustain presence there over time. Right now, it is not America. Thank you for watching until the end. If you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Share your opinion in the comments. See you soon.